Hey there everyone, Hitesh here from LearnCodeOnline.in. Amazing, awesome website. Go ahead, check that out. So let's get started and talk about our regular JavaScript stuff. So what is the agenda today? People, today we want to talk about coercion in JavaScript. Now it's a really mouthful word and a lot of people don't know even what coercion is. So if somebody would ask me that what is coercion in terms of or in context of JavaScript, I would be saying something like this, that sometimes JavaScript want to be really the smartest guy in the room. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it is not. So sometimes JavaScript tries to predict and do some things for you. Sometimes it does it perfectly, sometimes it is not able to do it so perfectly. So you need to be aware where JavaScript can make a mess and can do things in terms of predictions. And by the term prediction, we are not talking about anything machine learning or AI. No, that's not. I know these words are really overselling these days, but it's not like that. So moving on further, sometimes JavaScript tries to become smart and tries to predict and do some things for you. And we don't want to do that. It is better rather to understand how JavaScript will be predicting each and everything. And based on that, we can utilize these things in our advantage here. So I know it's a little bit really vague thing to understand, but don't worry, with the code part, everything will become crystal clear. So let's just go ahead and in our advanced folder, let's create a new file and we're going to call this as coercion .js. Did I wrote it correctly? I believe so. So there we go. Okay. So what I really want to do in this case, I want to print out a few things on the console log so that you can understand what are the things that are going to happen, and feel free to predict them by pausing the videos whenever you like, and then we're going to discuss a little bit about it. So let's just log these values. So what I really want to log here first is 5. So obviously, you know, this is a string. This is not a number which is going to get printed. Okay. Now, what happens is, you might have seen this example quite a lot, this plus 5 and 5. In fact, I gave it in my starting of the series, but what I really want to give you an example of this guy. So what is going to happen when I'm going to get 5 string minus 5? This is exactly the place where JavaScript tries to be a little bit smart and tries to do some things for you. Okay, so let's just get the answer of it by running this. So I'm going to just open this, my console. I need to save this, so I'm going to save that. And now we're going to go 01 advance, and we're going to run this node coercion.js, and notice you got 0. First very point where JavaScript tried to be smart and predicted that yes, minus operation can only be performed when you have like both of them are numbers, and predicted it for you. But things actually changed dramatically when you change this to plus. Now, here, based on the previous result, we are expecting that since JavaScript was smart enough to detect that we want an addition operation here and 5 minus 5 is 0, JavaScript is automatically going to go and do best thing for us. So it should be 10. But when I save this and run this file again, we get a 55. So now JavaScript is treating everything as a string. Previously, it was treating everything as a number. And there is a drastic difference between the operation, and I didn't change much of the things. I just changed the operation here, plus to minus and minus to plus. That's it. This is exactly your coercion. And you'll see a lot of blogs and books talking about 3 types of coercion, with the numbers, with the strings, and with the booleans as well, which is really powerful one. I use them quite a lot, the boolean ones. Okay, so the whole idea is you should never allow JavaScript to predict things for you. If you are expecting things into a format of numbers, be sure that it is integer or float or any kind of numbers as a matter of fact. And if you're expecting the things to be string, then make sure it is string properly. Otherwise, these things actually generate errors, which are logical error, not the syntactical error. So they're going to just work fine. And it's really hard to track these kinds of problems. So make sure you always keep a check of it. Okay. So let's just say what we are having is, we are having a number here. So what you can do is, let's just have it something. So let's just say we are going to have give type. This is a variable here. And what we're going to say is we're going to check out type of, and then we're going to say, I want to check out a type of 5. So let's just log this and just print out give type, save that. And now if I run this, it gives me that it is a number. Yes, it is number. So obviously it is being shown as number. So make sure you first check out using that type of operator that what kind of things we are dealing up with. Okay, so in case this is like your string, save that. So it's going to give you a value that it is a string. So you always get a thing back in the string format. Is it a string or a number or anything else? If you just give something else like something this, save that. And in fact, we can just have let's just delete that. So you can just have it like empty strings or anything like that, and it's going to give you that this is an object, this is a string, this is an array. It works for everything fine here. So make sure you really want to take advantage of this. Okay, so I'm going to comment this line for a minute, and let's just talk a little bit more about it. Okay, so this is the first point, that always and always, if it is a string, go for string. If it is a number, go for numbers. Okay, so there we go. Now there is one more thing which you should know about coercion, which is a little bit strange as well. So let's just say we have a const. I'm going to call this as header. Now what is going to happen when I say true plus 5? Now this is also a strange situation. So let's just have a log and header. Some of you might have already guessed, but this is really a relatively new thing for many programmers. The true is considered as 1 in JavaScript, and it is a literal one. It's not just a true and false, it's just a literal one as well. So this can be a little bit, although it's a really rare situation that you're kind of fell into it, but still I wanted to make clear that everybody understand it. So when I run this, you notice you get a 6 there, and that is the point where you should be worried about. And similar to this, if you have something like false plus 5, now notice what happens now. It gives you a 5 here. So it's a really tricky situation. Also, let me show you something like this. We are going to have something like 5 and plus false. Some people get confused, so let me just run that here as well. So you get a 5. So true is treated as 1 and false is being treated as 0. So make sure you absolutely are sure about it. If you're adding something like 5 plus true, I really have no idea why anyone would do that, but maybe for your use case you might be having it. Okay, now comes up another interesting thing which I use quite a lot in my courses as well, and especially when I'm teaching something based on Firebase or something, or maybe Node as well. So this is a common scenario. So let me just walk you through with that. So let's just say we have a variable const, and we are going to have login details. There we go. So this is a login detail, and let's just assume in the login details we are getting some login details in an array format. Maybe that's a JWT token, or maybe something from Firebase, maybe it's an object or anything else. As a matter of fact, the first object is ID, the second is probably token, the third is email. So these are the things which are expected to be returned from the database in an array format. Right now my array is just blank, and here is some logic for getting details from DB. Come on, from DB. But somehow that logic actually got failed here totally. So now we actually have no idea that it failed, and we are writing our code based on that. So what we can do actually is, let's just say I'm having a probably a login ID storing here, and that is usually the first object in the array. So I just predicted that it's going to be login details, and it's going to be first object there. Okay, first object in the array. Now I have to write a logic for login, something like that. So I'm going to be saying if and else statement here. So what you usually do is, when we say something like this, is login ID is not equal to undefined. So obviously if it is coming back and we are able to store it into login ID, that means something is there. Otherwise, how we are able to do it? Okay. And we get a login. So let's just log that, and we're going to say allow user to login. Okay, that's the one logic. And the else part, we're going to say something like this, auth failed. A pretty simple example where if we are getting some login details, we are able to get a login ID. Then if it is not empty, allow the user to log in. If it is empty, then obviously the authentication failed. So let me now just comment out all these consoles so that we can just talk about it. This is actually a very interesting situation here. Okay, so this is our stuff. Save that, clear up the terminal, and just there we go. So obviously we got auth failed here. Now, right now there is no surprise here, but the surprise actually comes up when a lot of time I just use a situation like this. There we go. That's it, login ID. And when I just run this situation, notice you again got a auth failed. So this is a common term. You're going to see that in a lot of code on the GitHub or Stack Overflow. People just write it like that. If login ID, then here. So here comes the interesting part about this coercion, that JavaScript also assume and try to interpret some of the values as true and false in these if and else case and conditions. So you should be aware of that what are these values which are predicted as false and what are these values which are predicted as true. For example, if instead of this, I write something like this, which is an empty string, notice what happens here is you get an auth failed. But if I just even place a kind of a space there, notice now we get allow user to log in. So this can be a little bit tricky one and dangerous one as well. So make sure you understand these things, how these are going to work. So let me just have a login ID again here. And let me just talk about what are these values. Values that interpret as false. So these are the one pretty common one. Let me just write all of them. They are pretty easy. First, obviously the false is being interpreted as false. You didn't saw that coming, but it is there. 0 is also considered as false. Okay, just like true is considered as 1 and 0 is considered as false. So you got that, you saw that already coming. And also apart from that, the empty string is also considered as false. You just saw that when I was having empty string, it's like false. If I just put anything inside that string, that is true. Okay, and this is the important part. If you have anything at all in the string, that is true, regardless if it is just a space or an actual token. Remember, actual space or an actual token. Okay, interesting stuff. And also apart from that, the two important guys, which is null and your undefined, these are also considered as false. Apart from that, everything else is considered as true. Just to give you a simple example, if instead of this, notice this array, this is an empty array. So instead of this login ID, if I just say something like login details, notice there is no login details at all. This is completely empty. But what is going to happen is user was allowed to log in. So this is important stuff. If I just get anything like that, instead of this, if it would be an empty object, come on, like that. And I save that and run that again. Notice I'm allowed to log in again. Only the empty strings are considered as false. So instead of this, if I get something like this and I try to run that again, notice it says authentication failed this time. Okay, I hope nobody got confused because this is considered as false. Notice I wrote that just here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so let me remind you all these things again. Let's have a quick summary. Coercion is simply a technique where JavaScript tries to interpret and do some things for you. You don't want any time that somebody is doing some things for you. You always want your logic to be very precise, and you should always be aware what is going to come up. Some of the examples of coercion are when JavaScript tries to add a number and string, it just treats them as a string. When you try to subtract them, it treats as both of them as a number. But these are wrong cases. This should not happen. If you're adding these things, it should either be all string, either be all numbers, or your use case. Okay. Now the next thing comes up is something known as when JavaScript interpret false as 0 and 1 as true, or true as 1, vice versa. So there we go. This is the second case that you should be aware of. And the third case, which is you will be really thanking me when you'll be working on something like Firebase or maybe JWT tokens in Node.js or anything like that. That login, these all things really boil up to here. So JavaScript also treat few values as a false, obviously false, 0, empty string, null, and undefined. These are always going to be interpreted as false values. Okay. Apart from everything else is totally true, whether that's an empty array or maybe empty object or anything like that. So make sure you are pretty cautious about it. Okay. So these are my few words of caution about coercion in JavaScript, which is like the tricky behavior of the JavaScript, as I call them. So these are all important stuff. I hope you have enjoyed this video and have got some inside details about how JavaScript performs and how you can use them in the real world scenario when you're working on Node or React or Firebase or anything like that. So that's it for this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed it, do hit the subscribe on my channel. This is a programming community, amazing channel here, and you're going to see a lot of stuff here. So that's it for this video, and I'm going to surely catch you up in the next one.